Youth Central Sports coming to you live every Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm Charles Morse. And, man, I've been having a rough time lately. My back went out on me. I couldn't even go out and celebrate Valentine's Day and so on and so forth. Well, I tried to, but I got out of the car and I took a few steps. I'm leaving a lot out, but I had to call for help for somebody to come and help me get back in the car. So I was trying to go to lunch and be nice on Valentine's Day, but anyway, my back has been killing me. I mean, I've had a bad back since I was 19, and I don't want to get into that, boy. But anyway, it when it goes out, it sucks. Anyway, I'm Charles Morris. This is Youth Central Sports. Usually, I am joined by the one and the only Coach Vince Carter, Sr. And Vince is in Tennessee right now, so we do this show via internet every Wednesday. And Youth Central Sports, we started a while back. And actually, we used to do radio here locally here in the Orlando area. And so we decided to do the TV, the internet part of it, as we tried to inform and use this forum as a way of just trying to talk about, what's going on in sports, but more importantly, how sports can play a major part in the lives of so many, especially for those who are looking for father figures or even mother figures that needs mentoring. And so it works on all levels, whether or not it's kindergarten all the way up to the pros, because, believe it or not, some of those guys, those coaches are father figures to some of the grown men that you see play, and that we sometimes don't think about, that, that person needs a father figure as well. So that's what Youth Central Sports is really about and where it came from. Something told me not to eat any peanuts, but right before the show starts, something said, Charles, don't eat any peanuts. But I was, see, hard-headed. So, but anyway, that's the peanuts I've been eating. Sorry about that. But anyway, I'm Charles Morris and Youth Central Sports. Vince, from what I understand, I called him today, and he fell a few days ago. And he pulls something in his leg, dealing with his hamstring, and he's on crutches. He is going to have an MRI, but he has to go a few miles out in order for him to get the MRI, and he didn't think that he would be back in time to do the show. So unfortunately for myself, unfortunately, I'm doing the solo thing, which is really not fun, that you have to basically do an hour by yourself. I can put the text number up in case anyone would like to text what I like to talk about, something that you may want to talk about as well. But there's a couple of things I recognize. There's another show that I do on Mondays. Mondays? Is it Monday? No, yeah, Monday. Yeah, Monday. Geez, see, I'm getting confused because I used to do it on Friday. See, I must be getting old or something. But anyway, there's another show that I do on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time called The Journey 2020. That's been around since 2013. And so my topics for February has all been about Black History, celebrating Black History Month. The first week of February, I did a show. I pulled up some of my old interviews, and I made that part of the Journey 2020, where a couple of years ago, I interviewed some of the original Tuskegee Airmen. And boy, was that a treat for me. And so I it's actually up on YouTube. But I made that part of my show. I mean, how can you not just? I mean, come on. I mean, just to know how magnificent those guys are and all the things that they had to go through, let alone being such skillful pilots and such skillful at what they were able to do, and going down in history, man. So, but anyway, that was the first week. And second week, I found out that there's a friend of mine that I did not know, that I've been knowing for a while, has some really deep history in a small town on the outskirts of Orlando. There's a city called Oviedo. Well, her husband, great-grandfather, he was the first doctor in Oviedo long time ago. And so she kind of shared her history, her family history, and what it was like growing up in the South. Born in Alabama, moved to Florida at a very young age. But the family history in Oviedo, Florida, a little small town on the outskirts of Orlando. And then this past week, I had someone on, but what I did do, I had Bridget Norvell on, and we talked about a petition that she has out there in reference to Uber and Lyft, and she's trying to get people to be more aware of a lot of these drivers picking up passengers that are underage, and eventually something not good is going to happen. So she's trying to prevent something that is probably inevitable if we don't pay attention to what is really going on. But doing that show, I recognize two people as far as Black History Month that I wanted to recognize. So I'm saying this to say that one of the persons that I wanted to recognize on this show, that I recognize on the Journey 2020, Jesse Iwuji. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. And for those who are into the Nascar, one of the biggest races in the world took place this past weekend over in Daytona, and they had a diversity breakfast where they were giving out an award. And so I wanted to hear his story, and I wanted it to be part of Youth Central Sports. And so, as part of a tribute to Black History Month and him being on the Journey 2020, I also wanted to feature him on Youth Central Sports. So let's take a look and let's check out Jesse Iwuji. I think that's his name, Iwuji. And you might be a little amazed.
And now here on the Journey 2020, I have with me, Jesse, you're going to have to help me with your last name.
Iwuji.
Iwuji. And you're originally from where?
Originally from Dallas, Texas, but my name comes from Nigeria.
Okay. Now, people out here, we're actually out here at NASCAR in Daytona. And as you know, coming up is a very big race this coming weekend. Now, the Journey 2020, yes, actually, we travel on the road, and yes, we do go to Volusia County, but we're here for a special reason, and I want you to tell us a little bit about your history and about this award and why you're here today.
Yeah, so this weekend I won the NASCAR Diverse Driver Award, and it's an award they give out to drivers who are in the top level developmental series and doing things to promote NASCAR in different diverse spaces. So it's pretty awesome and a great honor to win this award. I began racing about 3 years ago. I'm in the Navy. I went to Naval Academy, played football there, started racing 2015, and been working my way up so I can get to the top level of NASCAR.
See, now you just said a lot. So, and what I mean by that is from the Navy to football. So how do you transition from that to how do you decide? I play football, but now I want to race cars. So how does that play into?
Sports are sports. Whether you're going from football to basketball, baseball to soccer, you name it, it's still the same mindset. You got to grind. You got to be able to work. You got to be able to outwork the person next to you.
No. I'm a jock. Okay, I grew up as a jock. You know, you may not believe it, but I was, you know, I play sports.
Yeah.
There's a transition going from, you know, baseball, football, basketball, but NASCAR, you decide you want to. No. I understand the competitiveness because that's what you're talking about. But there's a little something different to say that I want to go race cars. So that's what I'm trying to say. How did you go? So I want to now go race cars.
Yeah, I've always had a passion for cars, always had a passion for racing, but never could do it when I was younger because we didn't have the money and we didn't come from a racing family. So,
That's what I'm trying to get you.
yeah. So in college, I just started growing a little bit closer to motorsports, watching more videos on YouTube and things like that, watching racing on TV, and then from there, I was like, you know what? Let me try to make something of this. Like football was over for me. I was in the Navy now, but now I was like, while in the Navy, I want to still make something of myself in motorsports. And once I went to shore duty, that's when I had more time to do it, and I started pursuing it.
Okay, This is something that costs money.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it costs money, but there's also the stereotype. Okay, because this is something that we don't do as people of color. So understanding again the competitiveness, being an athlete. What door opened for you to go, you know what, this is something that I think that I'm going to do and that there's a very good chance I might be successful. So kind of take us through that part.
Yeah, there is a stereotype. There's not a lot of black people racing in motorsports, and for me to even have the opportunity to do it has been pretty amazing. But I've looked past it. I never let that be a barrier for me. I told myself, don't look at color, don't look at anything. Just be the best you can be at what you're doing. Keep grinding, because work will outshine everything, and people will stop looking at color. They'll stop looking at all that stuff. They'll be like, this guy just grinds. And that's what I've been able to do. By me doing what I'm doing, hopefully it paves the way and opens doors for other people who are African American, Asian, Mexican, you name it. Hopefully it opens the doors for all minorities, but somebody has to pave the way. There's been others before me that done it. I'm not the first, but I'm trying to reopen some of these doors and re-engage with our community so we can get them into the sport.
Okay, now when did it click to say, you know what, I can do this?
It probably clicked 2015 in my first race when I did a late model race. I did the race and I was running about mid-pack, and I was like, well, I've never raced before. I'm doing better than half the field, so I must have some type of skill. So then that's when I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go further with this. Like, this is where I'm going. I'm never turning back. I'm going straight.
But what was that like for you? Because everybody, especially us guys, we love to get in the car and go fast. We love to drive fast anything. So what was that like for you, that first experience? What was that like for you? What was going on inside your mind?
I didn't know what was going on. It was just a whirlwind. In fact, after the race, people were trying to talk to me, and I was like, leave me alone. I need to take in what just happened. It is crazy. It's not like driving fast on the street. You got 20 other guys that want to rip your head off that are driving just as fast, inches away from you. It's a lot. So you really got to stay focused. You have to just let the anxiety kind of fall off for a little bit and just go. It's different. It is a different experience.
Okay, take us into your plans for the future, how you're dealing with this. Everybody want to be successful. And I asked you, this is my last question for you because I know you're busy. The plan and the success and the path to success, because I know absolutely nothing about racing a car in that sense, but you have a plan and how to carry out that plan to get to wherever you want to go, whatever that is.
Yeah, so the end goal is to get to the Monster Energy Cup Series. I want to get to the top level in NASCAR and win a championship. That's the end goal. For me to get there, there's a lot of boxes I have to check off to do that, and there's a lot of grinding that has to make it happen. I got to get the experience by racing in the Truck Series, the Xfinity Series, ARCA, all of that. I have to find the funding through sponsorships. Finding sponsorships is not easy. Continue to market myself and put myself in a position where people want to see me and want to engage with me and want to engage whatever products or services that are supporting me. That's a huge part. So me working on all that, over the next few years, that's what's going to allow me to get to the level that I want to get to.
Okay, now when you see this guy, you got to know you saw him here on the Journey 2020, and we're also going to focus him on Youth Central Sports. And because of Black History Month, we want to celebrate this all month long. Who's better than to have Jesse here and telling his story? So we're going to look back into the future, once we go and we're going to see this guy, we're going to know, because we're going to ask you, wishing you so much success and God blessings to you. Thank you for taking the time to come and talk to us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right, featured him on the Journey 2020, and I definitely wanted to feature him on Youth Central Sports, and wishing him the very best. A lot of challenges that you face, not only something that is extremely dangerous in a sense, but overcoming the odds, being a person of color in a field in which this is dominated, not in the sense by the people of color, but just even the mindset. And it's a task to try to overcome, because you need sponsors and people that can believe in you. And so we want to wish Jesse the best, and put him in your prayers. And hopefully the success will come where we will see this gentleman somewhere down the road as a well-known and retired NASCAR driver. You know, how great would that be? Anyway, I'm Charles Morse. This is Youth Central Sports, where we come to you every Wednesday at 11 p.m. I was saying earlier that my partner pulled a hamstring or something. Vince Carter Sr. Failed. He was carrying something, and he's out right now getting an MRI. I think that he may need surgery. And this funny thing is that I was teasing him because he's there in Tennessee coaching high school basketball. They won their division, getting ready to go into the playoffs. I think he said this coming Friday. He said he has missed the last 3 games, but we want to wish him well. And I was saying how my back has been out. So Friday, when I went to interview Jesse, was the first time I was able to walk in about maybe 4 days. And so I was so happy, because I wanted to talk about the gentleman who actually, how I got the hook up with NASCAR was Louis Delgado, who I've worked with years ago at Orange TV, called me up and said, hey, I want you to come and talk to this guy. And so he gave me the 411 on Jesse, and he was able to give me the hookup as far as the NASCAR. But once I got over there, I'm trying to find out how to get in, So even though I used to live over in Daytona when I originally started in college, that's where I started at the, which is now Daytona State College. Back then it was called Daytona Beach Community College. And so I'm very, very, very familiar with the Daytona area. I lived there for a period of, some years, and used to know it very well. Used to know it like the back of my hand. Not so much, but I still know the area very well. And so trying to get into that place was a monster. So I was able to make hook up with this gentleman, and then when I hooked up with the gentleman, Ronnie, he helped me get to where I needed to go, and through asking questions, and I finally found the breakfast and the diversity awards that and I had no intentions of trying to make the breakfast, especially when I was telling you that my back was out. So I didn't know how I was going to feel that morning, so I was not anxious, because Louis said, oh, see, you should have been in for the breakfast. No, he had no idea. I had no intention of trying to make that breakfast. I was just hoping that I could get there. So that day when I went over there to the NASCAR was the first day that I was actually able to walk. And I had to walk probably anywhere close to maybe 3 to 4 miles around that big place. That place is huge, and I'm telling you. So Ronnie which was a very good connection because Ronnie is going to come on Youth Central Sports, and he is going to talk because he used to work in the athletic department at North Carolina State. So he's a huge sports fan, and he has a lot of great stories, but he's been working with NASCAR for well over 20 years. So there's some stories there as well as far as some of the connection that he said. He said, man, I can get, quite a few people to come on your show and everything. I was like, oh, okay. Well, that sounds great. Well, the reason why I'm telling you about Ronnie is because he helped me get into NASCAR. So when I was finished, when I found out, they say, oh, okay, I asked, how do I get out of here? Right? Because I don't know if you know, that place sits 100,000 people. And then Ronnie told me on the infield, they can accommodate another 40,000 people. In addition to that, I looked over and there is acres and acres of RVs. So when I tell you that place is huge, it is huge. So now I've finished talking with Jesse. I'm ready because, that's my first 4 or 5 days that I've been able to walk. And I'm really kind of like, wow, okay. So I'm feeling kind of good because I'm like, oh, okay. So now I'm asking these people, how do I get out of here to get to my car? Well, they say, well, you have to catch this little trolley thing to take you to the outskirts of where you need to go. I said, oh, okay. So you go over there, gate number 6, 1 and 6. You want to catch the little trolley that is for 1 and 6. I go, okay. So I go over there and say, is this where I need to be to go to gate 1 or whatever gate I need to get out of here? He said, yeah, but you need a badge. I go, well, no, I don't have a badge. They sent me what I needed on an email. Nope, I don't believe you. I didn't even want to talk to him after that because I told him 3 times and he basically just said I was lying. I don't believe you. So I just went over to the side. I had gotten Ronnie's number, who had got me in, and I called him and I said, Ronnie, I can't get out of this place. He said, give me a minute. I'll be there and I'll come and I'll pick you up. So about 10 minutes later, he came, picked me up, and I said, Ronnie, I feel like I'm in Hotel California. You can check in, but you can't ever leave. So he thought that was funny, but actually it was true. But I was thankful for him because he helped me get in and he helped me get out. Very nice gentleman. And he said he was at North Carolina State for some years. He's been in NASCAR for some years. A couple of things that I'm hoping that Vince will make it back from his MRI. He's on crutches right now. He's going to have surgery, but he said he's going to be okay. And because he told me that he fell, and I said, Vince, should I ask you, how did you fall? And he explained to me that he missed a step. He was carrying some things, and when he fell, he pulled something in his hamstring. So it looks like he's probably going to have surgery. But wishing him well. And I wanted to talk with him. And one of the things that I wanted to talk with him about was this NBA All-Star game. I have no idea what the NBA has become. I don't recognize the game. I don't like the game. It's different. The overall to modern day athlete is different. It's hard to follow all of sports for different reasons for me. I've always loved sports. I've been involved in sports. I played sports. It was a major part of my life. I can't imagine life without it. But it was the weirdest thing, and I still can't get used to it. I tried to watch the All-Star game, and I looked up, and every time I saw LeBron, team Steph, I just couldn't watch it. Because I'm going, the NBA has now come to the point that the All-Star game is now called Team LeBron and Team Steph. I don't get it. It looks too weird. It doesn't fit me. It doesn't seem right. There's just something wrong. It's just that the NBA has come to a place that it just to look up and to see something is not right. I don't know. I'm not trying to hate on either one of those guys, but you know, I grew up watching sports. You love these guys. You don't know them, but they played a major part on Sundays when you watch the Dallas Cowboys, because my mother was a major Cowboy fan back when she loved Tony Dorsett and Tony Hill and Calvin Hill, Joe Dupree, Harvey Martin, Randy White, Too Tall Jones, Hollywood Henderson, Drew Pearson, all those guys, your boy Waters, you know, Roger Staubach, all those guys that you love. And those are the Dallas Cowboys that I know. That Dallas Cowboys that I loved. But Dr. J, and my mother was a big Mickey Mantle fan, Reggie Jackson, all those guys that you grew up watching. And sports was, to me, was different. The athletes were different. You didn't mind watching the All-Star game, whether it was football or, you know, basketball. You definitely loved Dr. J and watching those guys play, and from JoJo White to John Havlicek to Wilt Chamberlain to Kareem to Earl the Pearl, Pistol Pete, Jerry West, and the list goes on and on for guys that came into your home. To look up and see Team LeBron and Team Steph, I don't get it. I don't get how these guys are bigger than the NBA. It just makes no sense to me. It is such a turnoff on so many ways that I just can't fathom. I don't understand it. I just don't get it. I'm not trying to hate on those guys, but I don't know how they are now bigger than the NBA. That's crazy. These guys are such prima donnas now that the NFL Pro Bowl is basically a joke. The All-Star game for the NBA is a joke, because they're all just they just about their money. I don't know if you can you blame them for it, but based on our culture, our society, and how we are, I couldn't watch it. Just looking up at the name, I don't understand. It was just weird for me. I don't know. I don't get that. I do like the idea, though, that they're thinking about, which I think is a good idea, that they're taking the best 16 teams and putting them in the playoff. It doesn't matter what conference or whatever and all. I think that's a great idea, that you take the best 16 teams with the best record, doesn't matter East, West, and make that part of the playoff. To me, that's a good idea. But that thing with Team LeBron and Team Steph and whatever that was, most people could like it or whatever. I don't get how they are now bigger than the NBA. That's, oof. To me, that's just such a farce. The Spurs announced that, well, Popovich announced that there's a very good chance that Kawhi Leonard will not come back this season, even though they're saying he's cleared to play, but he has to decide the level of how he want to deal with whatever pain that he's in, and only he knows. I'm not sure if Popovich said that to try to motivate him for whatever that is. Who knows? But time will tell. They're talking about how, the Warriors have been kind of like, can they turn the switch on at any point in time? Then they talk about how long the season is, and they really don't care too much about the regular season. Don't make such a big deal when they start resting players. The big thing that they've been talking about now is that the teams decide to tank. Nobody want to admit it. Of course, Cuban did, so he got fined $600,000. The owner of the Dallas Mavericks, actually acknowledged the tanking, something in reference. So the NBA fined him $600,000 for being honest. And so I know that there might be fans out there that want their team to tank. Then there's others that's for the money that they make and for the money that I as a fan pay to go see these guys tank. Some of them tank that's trying not to tank. That's what, I live here in the Orlando area. The only guy that I know that I can give you a name is the guy Gordon, and because he was in the dunk contest. I don't know these guys on this team. Based on how this team is built, based on the direction that they've been going, next year they're probably going to win 30 games, maybe. And I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I don't know the following year, but after this season, next season starts, they're going to win 28, 29, 30 games. They're not going to make the playoffs. I'm sitting here seeing it right now. And I don't know anybody on that team other than the guy Gordon. And I only know him from being in the dunk contest, which he should have won, by the way. It looks like, for example, Houston. They said it a few weeks ago that they're totally focused on the Warriors, and well, they should be. I wouldn't be surprised if Houston did beat them this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Warriors won it all again. I wanted to talk to Vince about the trades that happened with Cleveland. Would that make them a true contender in the finals against the Warriors, against anybody in the West, really? But it's either going to be Houston or Golden State that's probably going to win the NBA championship. I love watching Leonard, the point guard for Portland, play against Golden State. I saw what they did last week against Golden State. When they play, and they play exceptional, because when Portland plays against Golden State, they almost, without a doubt, have to play like the perfect game to give themselves a shot to actually give themselves a chance to win. And when they do, and when he's making shots, and when others are contributing, they can give anybody problems, especially when he's on top of his game, because he's an exceptional point guard. And the thing is, when you play in the NBA, man, night after night, you're dealing with some tough competition, So, man, those guys are no joke. I talk about the game and how it has evolved and taken a step backwards. I don't dispute the skill level of these guys because they're really good. But what the NBA has done, just like the NFL, they have geared the game so much towards the offense that they have made the game sometimes hard to watch. If you play this game, and if you watch what they've done, mainly just to sell tickets and trying to make it fan friendly, sometimes I'm watching the NBA, and I have no idea what this game is. It's so different. And I always ask, I make the comment to Vince, this game is something that I don't recognize, because it's not, you can't go anywhere else and play this game or play that game that way. There's nowhere else you can go. You don't play it on the playground that way. You don't play it over there that way. It's just weird. It's a weird game, and what they try to do to make it fan friendly, and how they've taken away this and taken away that. Even from now, you have 8 seconds to bring the ball up the court and all this other stupid crap that they come up with. Everything is, you got to go over there and view it, whether or not it was a flagrant foul. And it's kind of like football, and you can't touch the quarterback. And that was another thing in which I wanted to talk with Vince about, because Vince and I have kind of gone back and forth for a minute. Because when I was talking to him about Brady, which I don't hate Brady, I'm not a Brady hater or anything like that, but it's just amazing to me how we are as people, as a species, that we'll sit there and we'll talk about this game of football, and it's almost like, are we watching the same thing? Because as great as Brady is, and he's a great quarterback, they don't talk more about the system that he's in. They don't talk about, for an example, that game last year, Super Bowl, when they came back and they beat the Falcons. And they'll sit there, which I know that's how we are. But it was the defense of New England that won that game. It was the New England defense that made big plays in order for them to come back and to win that Super Bowl. But their talk in the reference of Brady, But that's how we are when it comes to football, when it comes to the quarterback. And my question that I had asked Vince when I'm looking, because to me, he will never be as good as Montana, ever, 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 ever. It's just ever. And what I mean by that is, and I asked Vince this question. I said, Vince, in that game that he played against Philadelphia, putting up the numbers that he put up, and I'm not a Brady hater, I'm just watching the game, their system is set up that they execute so well that his offensive line does a great job. And I'm saying, how many times was he, how much time did he have to throw the ball? So that's my question. So if you take Brady out, and I for Vince, I use Joe Ferguson. A lot of you people may not know who Joe Ferguson is, but Joe Ferguson, who played for the Buffalo Bills, and I just using him as an example because Joe Ferguson was a steady quarterback. He didn't hurt you. He didn't make stupid plays. He was a good, sound quarterback. Some people may not consider him a great quarterback, but he was a good quarterback. Okay, like for an example, if Joe Ferguson played in that system, they would be saying he's just as great as Brady. And I'm not hating Brady. I'm just saying that team executes so well the concept of what the team is, and they give him time to throw the ball. If the conversation was about plays that Brady was making in reference to something that was spectacular, other than him sitting in the pocket, which tell me what quarterback can't do what he's doing if they got time to throw the ball. I'm not bashing on Brady because of that. My point is that I'm giving the team and the concept and the execution the credit that they deserve. Not trying to take anything away from Brady. But if you get any quarterback in the league and they have time to throw the ball, what is it that's... And I asked him this question. I said, in that game, how many throws did Brady make that you thought was exceptional that the average quarterback couldn't make that throw? And it's nothing against Brady. It's more of the execution in the offensive line and how they do what they do to give him time to throw the ball. The routes are being run. He throw the ball. And you saw what happened once he was forced outside the pocket. Twice he was outside, and he tried to. And then when they tried to throw him the ball, I won't even talk about that. But I'm not trying to hate on Brady, and I'm not trying to say that he's not great. I'm not trying to say that he's not good. That's not even the conversation. The conversation is, if you give a quarterback time to throw the ball, what's going to happen the majority of the time? And that's all I'm saying. The difference in what I'm trying to say is, when you tried to get to Joe Montana, because people, I'm trying to tell you, he would give you fits, because he could stand in the pocket exactly like Brady. But when you reached to get him, when that pocket broke down, that's when Joe Montana is why he is a legend. Brady is not that way. When that pocket breaks down on Brady, he's in trouble. He's in trouble. That's the only difference, that I see. And it's not a Brady hater, but I'm watching this game. I'm watching the game. It's just like you sitting there and you're talking and you put all this on the quarterback. He got time to throw the ball. He's reading. He looks here. He looks there. 1001, 1002, 1003. It's not like he was facing like the real Raiders. It's not like he was facing the Chicago Bears, back when they was the Chicago Bears. It's not like he was facing the Ravens when they had that defense. It'd be a different story. And who would give the defense more fits? Brady or Montana? It's an obvious choice. I guarantee you the defense would rather face Brady than Montana any day. Any day. That's a given. And I'm just saying, and I'm not trying to hate on him. I'm not trying to hate on him at all. Looking at the Winter Olympics, they was giving your girl Lindsey Vonn. You know, it's just, you know, people hate on people so much. Here's a woman who has come through so much. She's, for I understand, almost broken every bone in her body. She's come back. She got the bronze medal. She's done a terrific job. And people hating. People just hating. But that's part of it. I mean, she has to be proud of herself through all of what she's gone through and what she's achieved. A gold medal winner. She comes away with the bronze. She has to be exceptionally proud of herself. And I know her people are as well. So hats off to her. The young lady from Central Florida here, the speed skater, she didn't place. She said that she's taking in this experience and hopefully she will be back in 4 years and maybe we will see her, in the near future. The NBA is getting ready to start up tomorrow, which is going to be Thursday. The second half is always an interesting, for some odd reason, they seem to start to now gear up. March Madness is getting ready to start. Rick Pitino has been in the news. I think they're stripping Louisville from their championship. I think it was 2013 or something like that. Personally, I don't think they should, but hey, the NCAA is all powerful. They do what they want to do. They act and pretend that they're not what they are, but they are what they are. They're all about their money and money. That's all they care about, their money. That's why I have a problem with the system when it comes to the NCAA and football and basketball. I hate the football playoff because it sucks. But I do love March Madness though. I love the fact that the underdog truly has a shot. Every year, even though there's a team of 68, they always leave somebody out. But I love the NIT too. I love the NIT. I really do. So that's a great thing. I look forward to women's basketball. I loved it last year, the way they knocked off Connecticut. And the reason why it was so sweet, and it's not that I'm a Connecticut fan, a hater. It's just that the previous year, I think it was Mississippi, I'm trying to think of the school, they had beat them by 64 points. The previous year, they beat them by 64 points. Now here, Connecticut is undefeated, got their streak going. And I think they had just focused that entire season making sure that they was going to go up against Connecticut and redeem themselves. And boy, did they redeem themselves, and you got to love it. That's why I love it. That's what I'm saying. I love that game when they showed what they showed and they did what they did. They came up short in the championship game. But I think they were so focused to say, okay, you embarrassed us last year, which they, which I don't have a problem with it. If you got your foot on somebody's neck, stomp them, stomp them, stomp them. So I don't have a problem with that. None. As a matter of fact, it should have beat them by 68 versus 64. But I'm just saying they were so focused and determined to say, okay, last year you had your foot on our neck. This year, we're going to I don't know what record they had won. I don't know how many games in a row, but it was, you can call it sweet revenge, and it was a great game to watch because they were so determined, they were so focused that they was going to say, okay, we're going to redeem ourselves from last year. And yes, they did. So it's funny because I wanted to go and give everybody on that team a hug and be like, yes, you did. You knocked off the great and the powerful Connecticut, and you did it in a way that it was nice. It was nice. So with March Madness coming up, I don't know if there's a clear favorite. The number one seeds or number one teams have been going back and forth. We got the Duke, North Carolina game coming up. Then we got the ACC tournament coming up, along with all the others. So the March thing is getting ready to go into full effect. I don't know how many upsets we're going to see, but there's always the underdog. And the thing is, especially this year, there's going to be some team, or maybe more than one or two, somebody that we least expect going to come out, and we're going to see something, and we're going to be like, we're going to see some player that you really haven't heard of. And I think we're going to see maybe two teams in the Final Four that you probably least expect. Because they're looking for Duke to be there. You're probably looking for Villanova to be there. Maybe Virginia. North Carolina. Quite a few teams are out there that we know of, but I know that there's a sleeper. There's a couple of them, right? So with that being said, looking forward to March Madness. I know you're gonna, fill out your bracket, and the thing is, we're so used to going to Barack and talking to him about the brackets, and he filling out this little thing, which was always cute and fun to watch. And you can't go to 45 because he's, the guy don't have a dog. You know what I'm saying? Because we already know the dog probably would bite him. It's a given. Animals are pretty good judge of characters and so on and so forth. And anyway, it would be interesting, since they can't go to him, to see if they would go to Barack and see if they would ask him to fill out his bracket. And I think they should, because he's a good character. He does well on camera. It's fun to hear him, so that'll be interesting to see if they will, because I don't think they're going to go to 45. I'm sorry. I have to stay focused because this is supposed to be a sports show. So let me stay focused on the sports. me stay focused on the sports. But it'll be interesting to see if he if they will go to Barack and let him fill out his brackets still, because it's, you know, it's good entertainment, and interesting to see what he's gonna say. I mean, they should anyway, you know. In the news again, Kawhi Leonard, they're looking for him not to come back this year. Baseball is getting ready to kick off. I guess the Yankees should be fun to watch this year. Of course, they had the fire sale down south in Miami. I heard that Houston will probably be favorite to win it all this year. Don't know. You know, injuries play a major part in the outcome of a lot of games, sports. So based on the injuries, maybe so. I mean, if they don't have any, no one wish injuries upon anybody or any team. So as baseball get ready to kick off, football has come to an end. The second half of the NBA season is getting ready to gear up. March Madness is getting ready to kick off. So we will have a lot to talk about starting next week. Also, I did not go and get my final analysis from James Harris. I'm going to go do that. And Ray Hamilton, I'm going to go talk with him. Former NFL player and coach, and coached in the NFL for well over 25 years. James Harris and Ray are like really, really, really good friends. So I never did go and talk to them and get the feedback on the Super Bowl and what they would like to, you know, I would like to hear what they have to say. And congratulations again to the Philadelphia Eagles for playing an outstanding game. Probably one of the best Super Bowls that, one of the best, you know, definitely it's up there in the top 5. Great game. Way to go. Way to bring the Super Bowl to the city of brotherly love. I know that there was a lot of interesting stories about why people didn't go to work that day, that they wanted to be part of the parade and the celebration. And also understand, if you're part of South Jersey, that you are a Philadelphia fan, whether it's the 76ers or the Phillies or the Eagles or the Flyers, so on and so forth. So Jersey, if you're Jersey, South Jersey, and again, congratulations. And then the funny thing is that they're not favorite to win it next year. I think New England is. Interesting to see. Wow. But that's going to do it for me. I was hoping that Vince would be able to make it in, but he told me that he was going to try. But based on how far he had to go to get his MRI, he's walking with a cane. And again, I told him that I couldn't walk for about 4 or 5 days. So I got the crutches over there. Right when I got the crutches, I was able to, my back said, oh, okay, enough is enough. I'm going to allow you to walk today. But I'm still having problems sleeping at night because the nerves and all of that still just, it's hard to get comfortable. And I'm aching right now, and it's still running down my leg, and I'm starting to sound like an old man. So I'm going to leave that alone. And just want to say that I am thanking you for joining me on this Wednesday evening. And we'll be back next week with Youth Central Sports with Vince Carter and yours truly. And I would love to have you join us. If you would like to send us a shout out, you can do so at youthcentralsports@gmail.com. Okay. If you have any ideas, if you would like to join us, youthcentralsports@gmail.com. And we'll give you an update. If Vince is not available next week, we will give you an update on how he's doing. And we do wish him well. All right. Blessings to you. Enjoy the rest of your week. Getting ready for start of the second half of the NBA and getting ready for the start of March Madness. I know you're ready. All right. Thank you for joining us. I'm Charles Morse. You be blessed.